Some stories announce themselves, others whisper. They sit in boxes, folders, reels of tape, waiting for someone patient enough, curious enough to follow the trail.
If you're a new researcher, an early career curator, or someone just starting to explore the world of cultural heritage, there's one thing you need to know. You can't do this work without understanding where the stories live. Today, we're talking about archives and national libraries, what they hold, why they matter, and how places like the National Library of New Zealand, Archives New Zealand, and Ngā Taonga Sound and Vision can transform the way you research.
Welcome to the Taonga Files, the podcast that reconnects whakapapa, mātauranga, and the journeys of Taonga Māori. Ko migoto iria ahau.
Ko Amber Aranui tēnei. Through research, Taonga speak, revealing where they've travelled, who they've touched, and what they carry.
So let's step beyond the register as we uncover stories that shape who we are.
These stories were never lost. They were just waiting to be found.
Archives and national libraries are the memory infrastructure of a country. They hold the raw materials of history, some of the evidence, voices, paper trails, contradictions, and context. So the archives and national libraries collect manuscripts and letters, photographs and maps, government records, newspapers and published heritage, sound recordings, films and broadcasts, digital collections, and born digital material. These institutions protect fragile knowledge from being lost, misinterpreted, or buried.
The institutions can't really control if they're going to be used for misinformation. So just to clarify that point.
So they make it accessible not just to academics, but to community researchers, artists, journalists, curators, and anyone trying to understand people, place, or whakapapa.
So now we want to provide a bit of a spotlight on Aotearoa's memory institutions. So specifically the National Library of New Zealand, Te Puna Mātauranga or Aotearoa. The National Library is exactly what the name suggests, a wellspring of knowledge. It holds Aotearoa's published heritage, books, magazines, newspapers, music ephemera, and makes them available through reading rooms and online catalogues. One of its most powerful tools is Papers Past, a massive digital collection of historic newspapers and printed material. If you're researching social history or public discourse or the atmosphere of a particular moment in time, then Papers Past is a goldmine, and actually we used that a lot when we did our episode on the heist, and we've actually done a whole brief on Papers Past. So if you're interested in learning more, then check out that brief. The library also holds unpublished collections through Alexander Turnbull Library, where they have manuscripts, photographs, oral histories, and rare material that help you understand the people behind the stories. For curators, this is where you build context. For researchers, this is where you find the threads that connect your work to the wider world. Next we have Archives New Zealand, Te Rua Mahara or Te Kāwanatanga. Archives New Zealand is the official guardian of government records, more than 7 million of them. And this is where you'll find things like land records. And one thing I have to say about the land records is when I was an archaeologist, I visited Archives New Zealand quite a lot to look at their land records and their maps. And I have to say the maps that they have there are some of the most beautifully drawn, I want to say, pieces of art that I have seen in a long time, and they provide so much information. They also hold immigration files, military service records, and I myself have found my great-grandfather's personnel record from World War I, so that was really special. They also hold school records, court documents, departmental archives, and constitutional documents, like Te Tiriti o Waitangi, He Whakapūtanga, and the women's suffrage petition. If you're doing provenance research, repatriation work, or trying to understand how Taonga move through systems, Archives New Zealand is essential. And this is where the bureaucratic footprint also lives, the decisions, the policies, the impacts they had on communities. And they even hold documents on the Colonial Museum. Even though our own archives have a lot of Colonial Museum documents, Archives New Zealand equally has just as many. So these are both locations that are important when looking at places like the Colonial Museum. And the archivists here are incredible guides. They help you navigate complex files, understand restrictions, and locate the exact record you didn't know you needed.
Ngā Taonga Sound and Vision is Aotearoa's audiovisual archive, the place where the country's moving image and sound heritage is cared for. Its collection includes film and television, radio broadcasts, oral histories, home movies, sound recordings, music and performance archives. Over 800,000 items with thousands available to view or listen to online. This is where you hear the voices of the past, the accents, the music, the laughter, the protests, the everyday life. It's where you see the world as people saw it through their cameras.
I think this is important to point out for all these media types because in the past, people were making very deliberate decisions about what they were going to photograph, what they were going to record, because physical media was not cheap and you had to change it over a lot. There wasn't like unlimited numbers of pictures you could take. You had to limit how much you recorded of sound. You had to limit how much you recorded of video. All of these things were very finite and very deliberate when people used them, not like we do today where you can literally do anything in unlimited amounts.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess for curators, audiovisual taonga can bring exhibitions to life, and it's something that I've had experience in accessing over 50 plus audio files of wahine Māori being interviewed on the radio for numerous years. So this is a real treasure trove. If you're interested in listening to voice recordings, interviews, I mean, this extends to radio archives as well. And for researchers, it offers emotional texture, the kind of detail you don't get from paper alone.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago, our Taonga Puoro Rōpū at Te Papa, I think we've done it a couple of times now. We've provided Taonga Puoro soundscapes to some of the amazing silent films that we have in Ngā Taonga. So that was a real privilege to be able to add some sound and feeling to some of those silent films.
And just something to wrap up that section, I'm just remembering now that Ngā Taonga Sound and Vision shouldn't be confused with TVNZ. So this is a Sound and Vision archive. There are files that are held by TVNZ only, so they're two different businesses.
That's a very important point. So what can you actually do in these places? If you're new to this world, here's the good news. You don't need to know everything before you walk in the door. At the National Library, you can search catalogues for published and unpublished material. You can explore papers past from anywhere in the world. You can request items to view in reading rooms, talk to librarians who specialise in research support. In Archives New Zealand, you can use their research guides to learn how to approach archival work. You can search for specific records using their collection search, request files to view in person, and ask archivists for help. They genuinely want to see you succeed. At Ngā Taonga, you can search their online catalogues. Both Mikoto and I have done this quite a bit over the years for our research, so they are a very good tool to use. You can request to access audiovisual material. You can also explore curated stories and historical footage. And you can connect with Taonga Māori collections and its kaitiaki. And this is an important part of Ngā Taonga Ihoa. It's a place where some really, really valuable Taonga Māori collections are held. And again, I suppose they're like that, your non-typical Taonga Māori. So it's not a heitiki or it's not a whakairo, but it's film and it's sound of our tupuna and of important points in time. These institutions are designed to be used, and you guys belong in them.
Why does this matter for researchers? All of the places we've just talked about help you to avoid assumptions. They give you evidence, the kind that strengthens your exhibitions, your research, your repatriation cases, your storytelling. They help you trace provenance, understand context, reconnect taonga with people in place, honour the lived experiences behind the records, build work that is grounded, accountable and true. When you know how to navigate these places, your research becomes deeper, richer, and more connected. Some stories whisper. They wait in boxes, folders, reels of tape, not lost, just waiting for the right person to come looking. Archives and national libraries are not dusty back rooms. They are living ecosystems of memory.
And once you learn how to work with them, your relationship to the past and to your own practice changes forever. Wherever you are in the world, start exploring your own national institutions. And if you're in Aotearoa, know that the National Library, Archives New Zealand and Ngā Taonga Sound and Vision are ready for you. Go follow the clues. Go find the stories that matter. Ka kite anō.